Good morning, everybody. Let us start with the behavioral design pattern. This is our third design pattern. Okay, so let us start with. So basically, what is behavioral design pattern? Behavioral patterns are concerned with algorithms and the assignment of responsibilities between objects. Behavioral patterns describe not just patterns of objects or classes, but also the patterns of communication uh, between itself. Okay, so behavioral class patterns use inheritance to distribute behavior between classes. Okay, so actually, behavioral object patterns use objects composition rather than inheritance. Some describe how a group of peer objects cooperate to perform a particular task that no single object can carry out by itself. Okay. So the important issue here is how peer objects know about each other. Okay. So for that purpose, there are different design patterns are used. Okay, we will see in detail in further slides what are that patterns. Okay, let us move towards the next slide. The first pattern is the iterator design pattern. Now, what is iterator design pattern? This figure indicates a non-software example. This figure actually shows object diagram for iterator using channel selector example. Okay. The iterator actually provides ways to access elements of an aggregate object sequentially without exposing the underlying structure of the object. Okay. Now, see, for example, in older days, television sets, a dial was used to change channels, right? When channel surfing, the viewer was required to move the dial through each channel position regardless of whether or not that channel had reception. On modern television sets, that is nowadays, a next and previous button are used. When the viewer selects the next button, the next tune channel will be displayed. Consider watching television in a hotel room in a strange city. When surfing through channels, the channel number is not important, but the programming is behind that. Okay, so if the programming on one channel is or not of interest, the viewer can request the next channel without knowing its number. Okay, so this is the essence of using the iterator design pattern. Okay. Now let us move towards the next slide. Here is a class example of iterator design pattern. Okay. So basically the intent of iterator design pattern is that it provides a way to access the elements of an aggregate object sequentially without exposing its underlying representation. Okay. So basically, the key idea in this pattern is to take the responsibility for access and traversal out of the list object and put it into an iterator object. Okay. So the iterator class defines an interface for accessing the list of elements. An iterator object is responsible for keeping track of the current element. That is, it knows which elements have been traversed and which element is not traversed. Okay. Now see, here is an example of iterator design pattern. What this example denotes, let's assume that we have a skip list implementation of a list. A skip list is a data structure with characteristics similar to your balance trees. Okay, so what we want to be able to write code that works for both list as well as skip list object. Okay, so what we can do, we define an abstract list class here. You can see here abstract list class that provides a common interface for manipulating list. Okay. And similarly, we need an abstract iterator class, okay, that defines a common iteration interface. Then we can define concrete iterator subclasses for the different list implementations. And as a result of this, the iteration mechanisms becomes independent of concrete aggregate classes. Okay. So in this way, create iterator design pattern is works. Okay. So you can use this iterator pattern to access an aggregate object contents without exposing its internal representations. Second one, to support multiple traversals of aggregate objects. And the third one, to provide a uniform interface for traversing different aggregate structures. Okay, that is to support polymorphic iterations. Okay, so this is the essence of using a iterator design pattern. Let us move towards the next slide. And of our second design pattern in a behavioral design pattern is the observer design pattern. Let us move towards the next slide. Here is a non-software example of observer design pattern. Okay. Now this figure, what this figure shows auction example for observer. Okay. Now see, the observer defines a one-to-many relationship so that when one object changes state, the others are notified and updated automatically. Okay, like some auctions demonstrate this pattern. Now, see, each bidder possesses a numbered paddle that is used to indicate a bid. The auctioneer starts the bidding and observes when a paddle is raised, the accept is uh, when the paddle is raised to accept the bid, the acceptance of the bid changes the bid price as well. Okay, so which is broadcast to all of the bidders in the form of new bid again. Okay, so this is the example, a real world example of observer design pattern. Okay, now let us move towards the next slide. Here is a no soft class type example of observer design pattern. Okay, now see, the intent of using observer pattern is that uh, to define a one to many dependency between objects. Okay, so that when one object changes state, all its dependents are notified, okay, and updated automatically. And this pattern is also known as dependence or a publish and subscribe pattern as well. Okay, now see, see this example. See, many graphical user interface toolkits actually separate the presentation aspects of the user interface. Okay, now classes defining application data and presentations can be reused independently. They can work together too. Okay, so both a spreadsheet object and a bar chart object can depict information in the same application data using different presentations. Okay, so the spreadsheet and the bar chart don't know about each other. They are letting you reuse only the one you need. Okay, but see, they behave as though they do. When the user changes the information in the spreadsheet, the bar chart reflects the changes immediately and vice versa. Okay, so this is called as a publish and subscribe behavior. Okay. Now see, this behavior actually shows that the spreadsheet and bar chart are dependent on the data object and therefore should be notified of any change in its state. And there is no reason to limit the number of dependent objects to two. Okay. So there may be any number of different user interfaces to the same data. Okay. The observer pattern actually describes how to establish these relationships. The key objects in this pattern are subject and the observer. A subject may have any number of dependent observers. All observers are notified whenever the subject undergoes a change in state. Okay. So in response, each observer will query the subject to synchronize its state with the subject state. Okay. So this is the essence of using observer design pattern. You can use observer pattern in the situations like when an abstraction has two aspects, one dependent on the other. Encapsulating these aspects in separate objects lets you vary and reuse them independently. In such a situations, you can use observer pattern. Okay. Or when a change to one object requires changing to others as well. Okay. And you don't know how many objects need to be changed. This is the another situation. And the third one is that when an object should be able to notify other objects without making assumptions about who these objects are. Okay. In other words, what you can say, you don't want these objects tightly coupled. Okay. So this is some scenarios where you can use the observer design pattern. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patient listening. Okay. And I am ending my session here. Have a good day. Okay.